AmericanFinancing.net.
Hey, to all the men out there, my name is Tina, and I want to share a recent experience with you. Let's talk male performance in the bedroom. Okay, so I've been with this guy for years, and he's been fantastic at almost everything he does, with the exception of our life in the bedroom. Not long ago, he shocked me with more strength and passion than he has had in years. He performed in the bedroom like when we were in college. It was so exciting, and today his performance is better than ever. I asked him what has gotten into you, and with a huge smile, he said, Noxitril, the natural super pill that is better than anything he's ever taken. No stuffy nose, no headaches, just incredible results. Now I'm a huge fan of Noxitril. Hey, if you want a sure thing in the bedroom, call Noxitril today. They have a free bottle offer, so do yourself a favor and call now.
To find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril, call 1-800-993-2480. That's 800-993-2480. Free bottles for a limited time, so call now. 800-993-2480. That's 800-993-2480.
Sean Hannity today at 1. Glenn Beck tonight at 8 on Denver's Talk Station, 630 KHOW. This is the Ross Kaminsky Show. Now, Ross Kaminsky on Denver's Talk Station, 630 KHOW.
All right, this is just such a treat for me. I am joined in studio by J.P. Sears, the master of ultra spiritual living, and just one of the funniest guys around. And if you've never seen JP's videos on YouTube, I want to encourage you to get over there, like right now. Go to YouTube and type in "Awaken with JP" and subscribe. Almost 800,000 subscribers, which is pretty phenomenal. But, man, it's just fantastic to meet you.
Ross, thank you, brother. Man, I feel better about myself already. You called me a master. You're sharing your smile, just tucking me up. So I feel less worse about myself being in your presence. And appreciate you having me on, brother.
And that isn't self-esteem the most important thing these days?
It is. I think self-esteem that comes from other people, that's codependence, but I think it's a new wave of interdependence. All happiness is found within from other people's words and how we internalize them and take them highly personally.
Seriously, JP, I don't think there is any YouTube video that I have shared with other people more than if meat eaters acted like vegans.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to talk about that a little in case some of my listeners don't know?
It's a sore subject. I've got a lot of trauma around it, Ross. No, happy to. So yeah, if meat eaters acted like videos, if meat eaters acted like vegans, that one has been my most highly viewed video. And what I was doing is taking the angry, hostile vegan mindset that not all vegans have, but some do, and overlaying that on a meat eater, so obviously the opposite of a vegan, and portraying it that way. And comedically, it really hit a sweet spot with a lot of people. People loved it. And of course, for me, what really lights me up inside also is having a deeper message involved, where people might watch that video, and I had so many questions. JP, are you for vegans or against vegans? I'm like, neither. I am for people. That's what I am for. So what I love to do with that video is take this self-righteous, judgmental mindset and take it off of the vegans and portray it in a way, because veganism isn't about being a hostile idiot, nor is meat eating about being the same thing. But when we're a hostile, self-righteous person, that's something going on inside of us that we can either deal with if we acknowledge it, or we ignore it if we continue to hide it behind like veganism. So for me, I love that message of like, hey, like, let's take a look at the human behavior and not disguise it behind veganism or meat eating. Mm-hmm. So who knows if people took it that way, but that's certainly how I intended the deeper message.
Well, it's funny because I think a lot of these videos that you do really go after, well, you might broadly call New Age kind of stuff, sure, but also, a lot of this there are plenty of vegans who are just in your face about it. Like, they act like they are superior because of it. And it's not just that. You do a whole bunch of other things. And I think the fact that you make fun of them must cause people to assume something about your political views or anything, when really, as far as I know, you're just being funny.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of assumptions made, and I could care less about clarifying assumptions.
Right.
To me,
yeah.
it's like, if I can sound like a pretentious artist here for a second, Ross, to me, the artist has no business telling people how to perceive their art. So in this case, with videos, I don't have any invested interest in influencing how people see the videos.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the art is like, what does that bring up inside of you? What does that mean to you? And someone's assumptions are a part of that. So that's their business, not mine.
I love that approach.
And oftentimes I hear the assumptions. I'm like, oh, that's not accurate. Or sometimes they are. Actually, I was in Seattle not too long ago doing comedy shows, and it was a Saturday morning. I'm there at Whole Foods eating my breakfast, and I have, just from the hot bar, this big plate of bacon, and a lady recognized me. She came up to me like, "Are you that vegan guy?" And I looked down at my plate of bacon and then just said, "Yeah." So, in spite of all the evidence, she still had the assumption I'm a vegan.
That's absolutely hilarious. Hey, folks, JP Sears is playing. I need to mention this. Comedy Works South at the Landmark tonight at 7:30 and Friday and Saturday at 7:15 and 9:45. And I know some of these are sold out already, and they are all going to be sold out. So you better go buy your tickets as quick as you can. And there are also some VIP meet and greet packages available. Mel, are there still some of those available, or are they all sold out? Do you know? They might all be sold. Anyway, check it out at comedyworks.com because I've been doing this for a few years, and Comedy Works has brought a lot of great comics through, and this is the first time I've had a chance to meet you, which makes me think that, I could be totally wrong, so just tell me, that you're maybe not on the road a massive amount.
Well, it's a good question. I am definitely not a true stand-up comedian.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pure art form. It's like in the martial arts world, it's like, let's say that's jujitsu, and there's some people who are, the Hoist Gracie, their jujitsu, that's their thing. My path is different. Yes, I do stage comedy, and a lot of it is very resemblance of stand-up comedy, and some of it is just different. It's me being me and doing things my unique way. So I definitely haven't done the road thing for 30 years, grinding it out like so many true stand-up comedians have done. I've been doing stage comedy for about call it a year and a half now.
Mm-hmm.
And part of my unique path, I have this blessing where I built up the audience before I ever stepped on stage.
Right.
Massive YouTube and Facebook, just online fans. So I'll tell you, my first comedy show was a little intimidating. It was in Boston at the Wilbur Theater full of, I don't know what it was, 800 or 900 people.
Wow.
And that was, ignorance is bliss. Like, I had no idea how intimidated I should have been, but I just rocked up, prepared to do my thing. And it was either going to go super horribly or super well. And luckily it went super well. And the stage comedy has been what I've been most passionate about for the past year and a half. So I am on the road. I mean, I've got lots of gigs through the spring, much more added to the schedule. So I guess, long story short, as I go into this, I feel like I'm in therapy right now, Ross, and I love it. I guess I'm on the road in my unique way.
Uh-huh. Just so people know what to expect when you do a show at Comedy Works or anywhere else. How in character are you with the YouTube videos that a lot of people really know you? I'm like, are you going to be in a purple shirt tonight?
It's a good question. I brought purple shirts when I dress myself tonight. Depends on how I'm inspired. There's a decent chance I will be. But how in character relative to the videos am I? Not very. And I'll tell you a story about that in a second. So when I'm on stage, it's important for me to give myself full permission to be my dynamic self. So the character on video, that's like one dimension of where I can go. But I've realized, like, well, there's so much more of me that can give comedic expression is the word I'm stumbling with. that adds so much more dimensionality than just like the deadpan character. So here's the story. It was a couple years ago, before I was doing quote unquote comedy shows, I was being hired to come speak at conferences, health festivals, where I'm on stage doing comedy. And I was going to Salt Lake City, Utah. And I had just been in San Francisco the weekend before, and something didn't feel right. And when I was on the plane going to Utah, it just clicked. Don't just be the character, JP. You got to give yourself permission to be bigger than the character, because here you are, you're going on stage. So it's a different opportunity for you to show up bigger than you do in videos. So it's been a little bit of a hero's journey process for me to give myself permission to not just be the character. Though during times in my comedy shows when I'm inspired, like I will oscillate into the deadpan character, like cool, then oscillate right out and be something different. But what I like to say is, what's most important to me is I'm being myself the whole time.
How do you like it when, I'm sure you get this from the audience from time to time, people really want you to do what they've seen in the video, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you go to a rock concert and sometimes a band wants to play their new album, but the audience wants to hear the old hits. But really, the new stuff can be quite good too. Yeah. Do you get that vibe a little from audiences? Like, you know, hey, talk about gluten intolerance.
You know, once in a while I get that vibe, and comedy is very different than music. And you know, to state the obvious, you can hear your favorite bands, their songs a million times and it's still not enough. But once you hear a joke, it's kind of worn out for you. Maybe you can hear it a couple times. So I don't, to me, it's not creatively exciting at all to just rehash the same stuff on stage that I've already done on videos. Like I've you know, heard people, JP, do essential oils. It's like, well, I did an essential oil video, and everything I have to say about essential oils is pretty much in the video. If I'm somehow inspired to have a new angle on it, cool, I'll go there. But, you know, I don't like to redo the same stuff. To me, that'd be like dating an ex-girlfriend.
That's funny. So I've got a new friend who works at a fancy schmancy essential oil company that I won't name. And I sent her that video, and she's listening to us right now. And actually, you mentioned Utah. In Utah.
Yeah.
So how about all this stuff? Okay, now, speaking of not rehashing old stuff, talk to us about Boulder a little bit.
Boulder never gets old.
Boulder never gets old, and I used to live in Boulder County.
Yeah. Then Boulder, I mean, I think it's one of the weird capitals of the world. I live in Austin, Texas, so I think Austin and Boulder are just the same thing, different locations. So I'd been coming to Boulder for, I don't know what it's been, since 2010. So I got accustomed to the weirdness of Boulder and just the unique personality of the town and the common threads with all the people, the mentality. So I loved it. And then, you know, not too long ago, I put together the Boulder video, the Conscious Capital of the World video, which was, you know, I originally did that video for my book launch a couple years ago, and you know, recirculated the video, just raise awareness about these comedy shows. But I do that video with love because there's so much nuance going on with Boulder people. Like, Boulder, y'all are incredibly weird. I mean that in the best sense of the word. And I love that. And then another thing that's become so, I guess, hit so close to home with me in Boulder is whenever I'm in Boulder, I can't take two steps without people coming up and just sharing their love and appreciation for my work. Like, weird attracts weird, apparently. So, you know, I love Boulder. So doing a little rib nudging with Boulder, it feels good to me.
I love the thespians pretending to be homeless lying in puddles of their own urine. My special guest, JP Sears, is at Comedy Works South at the Landmark tonight at 7:30 and Friday and Saturday at 7:15 and 9:45. There are still a few tickets left. I know some of these shows are already sold out, so make sure you go buy them while you still can. And we are live streaming on YouTube. If you just go to YouTube and type in Ross Kaminsky, then you'll find it. And we're up on Facebook at 630 KHOW as well. Do you actually think that you're weird?
It's a great question. Yes, but that's become normal for me now. So I think weirdness is very synonymous with our authenticity. And I think the design team, whoever it is, God, Santa Claus, the universe, but I think the design team is too creative to make people who are just normal. I think what we do to ourselves oftentimes is put ourselves into a prison called normalcy, where we're trying to fit in, maybe get ahead, maybe get approval from other people. And to do that, we start acting out this insult against ourselves called normalcy. So we all do that. I think it's part of the hero's journey, if you will. It's the cocoon that the caterpillar spins. And then after we do that for a while, we eventually are called to emerge. And what's emerging, I think, is the weird butterfly that we really are. So we have to shed the cocoon of normalcy, and it's all self-inflicted. So what have we done to ourselves to kill our authenticity? And I think re-enlivening that is the path of our unique weirdness. And, you know, what's weird for you, Ross, is maybe going to be a little different than what's weird for me. I'm not talking about go fake weird, like
Right.
dress flamboyantly. I mean, or do if that's unique to you.
Right.
But you know, since I started doing comedy professionally about 5 years ago, that has been a very proactive path for me, helping unleash my weirdness for my own benefit, because that's me giving me permission to be me, not to act like who I think I'm supposed to be to get approval from my parents or society. But no, for me to give myself permission to live my birthright, which is to be me. And like so many other things, not to sound cliche, it's a journey, not a destination. I think we all can unleash more of our weirdness, give ourselves permission to shed the cocoon of normalcy to a greater degree and unleash who we really are unto our own lives, let alone maybe even the world.
I love it, and I'm probably not as weird as you, but I like weird, and I have a really high tolerance for weird. I mean, a lot of people think of weird, like, what is your tolerance above, you know, for me, I went to college in New York, and then I lived in Amsterdam, and I have a nearly unlimited tolerance for weird, and I like weird. Speaking of weird, and we only got about 90 seconds left, who's weirder, you or your wife, who I've only seen in a couple of videos? I loved her with the plastic straws.
Yeah.
Who's weirder, you or your wife?
I think we're a perfect match for each other. Our first interaction was she had on these leopard print cheetah yoga pants.
I was wondering if those were her pants when I saw that video.
That was our first interaction.
I knew it.
So I came up to her. I said, I wear those same pants in some of my videos. Do you want to take some pictures together? And that set off a force of nature that's unstoppable. So luckily, I think we are the same amount of weird. We express weirdness slightly differently.
I was wondering if those were... So you had the same pants. I was wondering if you borrowed her pants. Because after all, I mean, if you don't risk your life to get that yoga picture, then you're not doing it right.
You don't even care about yoga if you're not in a life-threatening position to get the yoga picture of you doing yoga in a very uncomfortable position.
Oh, my wife's listening. She does yoga every day. JP Sears, tonight at 7:30, Friday and Saturday at 7:15 and 9:45 at Comedy Works South at the Landmark. I guarantee you all these shows will be sold out. Buy tickets while you still can. Dude, such a pleasure to finally meet you in person, and I got to go out of town, or I would be there to see you, but I got to head out of town today. But break a leg, and welcome to Denver, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Russ. I appreciate you having me on, and thank you for being an awesome person, brother.
I don't know about that, but I'll take it. We'll be right back.
This report is sponsored by Staples.